Hello, guys. Welcome back. So, by the way, this is my allergies. So, if I'm tearing up and crying, I'm not sick. I swear to the gods, it's my allergies. This happens every year. Somebody asked me a really good question. They were dealing with Asmodeus as well, and he can be very forceful and very strong when he deals with you. But, in my experience, the way we work together, I've told you guys I'm open. I don't treat them any differently I treat any other group of gods. So there's nothing that I do to them. I'm not trying to protect myself from him. He can come over as close as he wants. And I think they're just the combination of being treated like gods again and being treated with respect and not having people try to abuse them or try to make them do things and being recognized and having people trying to do the research, and we're trying to find out like what was the religion like, everything else. They're just so excited and happy to see people who will treat them like the divinities that they are again. Like with Asmodeus, we know he was a divinity in an ancient religion which was supplanted by another. So all these divinities that people formerly loved and worshipped and adored and took care of and watched over their people, they were suddenly the bad guys. So we've got to keep this in mind as we, practice with these gods. So suddenly all these good divinities that were the good guys were the bad guys because they got replaced, okay? And they were literally, we get words like Deva and stuff like that, partly from, unless I'm getting it wrong, so you can double check me. Always double check me. Um, it was literally the term was like gods that should not be worshipped. So for them, it seems like it was a really big deal, as it is for any divinity. Like you give Loki attention, Loki's yours for life. They love attention, they love affection. It doesn't have to be real formal and in a temple. It doesn't even have to have an altar. But they want attention. There's something in them that they crave human companionship just as we crave their companionship. So they really want to be up close to us. And I really think it's a thing of, as I'm dealing with the other demons too, and we're just using demons so you know who I'm talking about. They're really fascinated, like they're not physically touching you, but you can kind of feel them coming really close and like patting at you like this, like you're not putting any words up. No, I never put words up. You're not throwing anything at me. And they come and they kind of look at you and you're like this big curiosity because it's almost like they've always been well aware that they're gods, but they're actually trying to remember, if that makes sense, because you can see them, the better you treat them, the more they bloom and the better their personality comes out. And they start remembering stuff that, it's stuff that's long gone to us, but they all have their bag of tricks that they may or may not tell you about. And I don't have any special information, but they've all, decided, well, I will be your teacher on this and I will be your teacher on that, and we can both work with you on this. And they're carving out their little territories, and Asmodeus is usually a sweetheart. We call him Snowy because he loves snow leopards with me, because snow leopard is all about balance, and you guys know I have a really extreme personality. I'm either out spending money like a libertine or I'm pinching every penny. He's trying to get me in the middle where I can have financial responsibility, and Mammon's like that too. I try not to, but it's a compulsion. You guys know addictive personalities run in my family, gambling, drugs, whatever. So, it's a blessing to have them here, but, I get the general impression they're just not used to humans treating them well. They're just not used to humans that aren't throwing stuff at them or trying to exploit them or, trying to sell up their services. I'm like, ew. Because, there are gods. They're just like Loki and Odin. If you want to work with them, you go work with them yourself. It's very problematic when you start paying other people to do work for you because one, you don't know if they did work or not, and two, you don't know if the god said yes. It could have very well said no. It's very different from the tradition in hoodoo where a select few chose to take the risk of doing the magical work. It's really different. You don't have to be afraid of our gods and afraid of repercussions with them. If you do something wrong, they'll let you know. If Asmodeus didn't want me going out, like, as news has come in and everything and people are adjusting to the new normal, he said very sweetly, because remember, he has names like he of the bloody mace and he of the bloody spear and the wounding spear. He said, I will attack you. Please don't make me. And he had a smile on his face. And I'm like, I'm I'm actually not going to test you on that because it was like you could feel Asmodeus there and Mammon moving in, and I know Lilith was like moving in from behind. And they love you, but they'll do what it takes to keep you safe. It's like if Loki thought, like, thank the gods things aren't worse than they are, but say things got even worse. If Loki thought having to give me some kind of injury that would prevent me from leaving the house would be what it would take to keep me safe, I know he would do it. I wouldn't even have to ask because he's done it in the past. When in the past when everybody else was relatively healthy, if I was under the weather and I still wanted to push and still wanted to go out, he'd make sure like I turned my knee or my foot went funny or something like that. He made sure to hurt me just enough to keep me home. He loves me, but he will do that to his people. You don't have to be afraid of him, but if he knows that it's the only thing that's going to keep you safe, he will. It was said as somebody said of him, and I believe them because I work with him. They wanted to draw, okay? But they just didn't want to go back and put the work into it because they didn't think they were good enough. And Loki kept showing up and saying, "You're going to draw." And they wouldn't do it. And he was giving them weeks, by the way. He was being pretty damn patient for Loki. I get, And finally showed up. He said, "You're either going to start drawing again or I'm going to break your hands and then you're going to draw." And he would have arranged it too. He would have done it. He loves us, but he will kick our ass. Asmodeus, for some people, can be more like that, but with me, he said, I have Odin to kick my ass. I have Loki to kick my ass. He can be a bit firm and a little bit more shut up, Loki, a little bit more serious, Loki's hoping. But, overall, he's a sweetheart. So is Mammon. Mammon's far more serious, but I told Mammon, and Mammon kind of got a little rankle until he realized what Odin was talking about. I said, Odin's often told me when you're the leader, you gotta be the son of a bitch to do the stuff nobody likes you for. And he kind of looked at me like this. But then he realized what Odin means. Odin has to tell me no a lot of times. So does Loki. So do Mammon and Asmodeus. I'm a human, okay? I have all the same drives everybody else does right now. Sure, I want to go out and go to the store and go eat a sandwich in a restaurant and all this other stuff. It can be stuff you never wanted to do up until the point where somebody in the government says, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing this," and all of a sudden you want to do it so bad, right? You gotta go over there. It's human nature, whether it's the explorer in us or the dumb monkey that won't live long. I don't know, but it's what we want to do. So, it was a really good question. It just feels like they're so not used to humans who will work with them. But it seems to be a very common experience from what I've read that Asmodeus is very forceful. In fact, he has frightened people to death. Not literally, but people have been so terrified of him that the moment he even appears, they break contact because he can decide to appear in grand, forceful fashion and roar. And he was doing a bit of that with me at first. And luckily, I've had Loki and Odin, so I kind of knew what was going on. But at the same time, he can be a little scary. But in my experience, it's just, as one of you mentioned like a week or so ago, I think, once he gets past showing you what a big bad scary demon he can be and how ferocious he is, he's fine. He just has to show you that he's big and he's strong and he's tough and he's not going to be messed with. Once you get past that, it's like if you've worked with Ares, I found Ares says the same thing of once you understand Ares is Ares and he can kick your ass, just so you know, he's fine. He's fine. They want to make sure you know how big and strong they are, and it's okay. And it's just, that's the kind of gods they are. Asmodeus kind of had to be, as one person works with him said, he was kind of the freedom fighter for his people, for his pantheon, because here came this new pantheon to replace them. And Asmodeus wasn't having any of this shit. He wasn't listening to anybody. So Asmodeus would make a good American. I'm getting, yay, Becker. So, he can be a little bit forceful. You sure as hell aren't going to tell him what to do. But if you tell him, hey, your energy's a little too intense, you're a little too forceful, you're scaring me a little bit, he usually will back off. I know he can feel a little intense and even a little scary at times, but I would not tell you guys to work with anybody I thought would hurt you. He's been real sweetheart, especially through this whole thing. If he thinks I have to stay in just because people are being foolish, he'll have me stay in. And Mammon's loving it because financially, he's like, good, this will give you a reason to stay in. I'm keeping you in. So, I hope that helps, and it was a really good question because, sometimes people start working with them, especially I feel bad for the demons because like I said, they're actually most of them are ancient gods that we have, if not all. We probably lost information on a lot of them. And I think they're just getting used to being with humans again, and that's part of it. So, if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.